What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anya, and my channel is all about me going on my faith journey, getting closer with Christ. Come on, come on, come on, come on. If you're along for that ride and feel like, hey, I've been thinking about getting closer to Christ, you might get something out of it, even if this is not your cup of tea. So now let's talk about that gas. Let's talk about the gas. In order to not get demonetized, I'm gonna call it flower. But flower can really take you on a trip. I didn't start smoking flower until I was in college. I was at this party and all my friends were doing it, and they asked me like, oh, do you want to smoke? And I was like, I never smoked before, but I'll try it. Like, very naive, just open. And when I tell you, we fell asleep at some person's house that I don't even know, but my friends knew who the person was, so I felt comfortable, and I was so lit that I fell asleep and didn't realize it until the next day when it's like, oh crap, we have to go to class. What? Like, it was one of them times, okay, y'all? So that was my introduction. If y'all ask me, oh, how was the trip? What do you remember? I do remember being paranoid, but I also remember kind of enjoying the paranoia. That's where that demon really started to set in. I was doing it, you know, every now and then. I wasn't doing it heavy. It was definitely just casually. And then it opened up to if my aunt was smoking, if my uncle was smoking. You know, there are people in my family that smoke flowers, so it was something that I didn't really judge as this thing I shouldn't be doing because everyone around me was doing it. I got a job after I graduated at a theater that was full of a lot of toxicity. I had to deal with a lot of patrons who were not good people. Every day after work, I would come home and have a joint. I might have smoked a couple puffs and then I would put it away and save the other half for the next day. If I graduated 2017, 2018, 2019, that's 2 years coming home and needing a joint. 2020 is when the pandemic hit really rough. When the pandemic hit, at this time, I had two really close friends who we would call each other and smoke and have smoke sessions. And our smoke sessions would include us like talking about, honestly, about God. We would always say, oh, what's the word for today? What's the word? I want a word. And we will also listen to Sarah Jakes Robert, not on the call, but beforehand, and then discuss her messages on the call. So it's very interesting how God was always the center of it. And he was always the reason why we wanted to like find some enlightening during that high time, and had these sessions every single night if we had flower. This is the part where it gets how weed really affects, right? During this time, my memory, y'all, it was bad. My memory was so bad to the point where it's like I didn't realize I was repressing so much. It was making me honestly forget who I was. I was doing things I would have never normally done. I was ignoring things I would have never normally ignored. And not ignored it because, oh, I don't want to know that. Ignore it because I wasn't even aware. I'm just gonna make up names. Kevin and Sarah, okay? We went to Kevin's house, and he lived in a different state than the both of us, so it was a nice vacation. We were smoking our behinds off, and it was to the point where Sarah really was trying to say like, oh, I thought y'all said y'all was gonna stop smoking. Y'all said y'all was gonna quit smoking. Y'all said y'all was gonna quit. This was something that we would say often, but every time I said it, I would not do it. I would still go back to it. I would run back to it in one way or another. I tried to quit lots of different ways. One way was, oh, I'm gonna just do gummies. I'm just gonna do edibles. I'm just gonna do this. I always ran back to the real. During that trip, a lot of things happened because we were all going through some stuff, and it really deteriorated our friendship, the foundation of the three of us. That's when you know it's definitely a problem. And I didn't even see it then because I was so caught up in the things that I was upset about. That happened in 2021, and it is now 2023. So not only did it deteriorate a friendship, and not deteriorate it, but it damaged it, and it was so stupid. Every time I think about it, it's just like full of so much me. You know, everybody had a part to play, but we definitely weren't where we should have been mentally. At the time, I was in a show that was all about social injustice of Black people, but Kevin and Sarah was going through it too. So afterwards, it made me look at things so differently. Why am I smoking? Every time I smoke, I feel like I'm smoking for this paranoia, and this paranoia is making me feel like I'm going to die. Why do I feel like I'm in hell, literally, when I'm smoking? I watched this video and it explained it so well. This woman said, I realized when I was smoking and felt like I was dying because I was dying spiritually. And so I was getting very caught up in that out-of-body experience. So then, to fast forward, y'all, I have been sober since March 11th. I had my last smoke sesh with my aunt. That last smoke sesh was such a real one because during the smoke sesh, my aunt was telling me a story about her friend who had been in an awful train accident, and a lot of his friends died. And during the train accident, he had to watch his friends die. He himself was also badly, severely injured. And there was his friend speaking tongues, dying. And it was just this moment where he had to plead to God, plead to his grandmother to stay alive. And when she was telling me this story, it felt like in the space felt heavy with death. But it also felt heavy with the slightest pinch of get it together. Get it together, Anya. Get it together. It was like I made a promise to God in that moment, I will never smoke again. And I haven't smoked and felt any urge to smoke at all ever since I got saved. It's wild because when Flannel passed away, my cat got euthanized. I was there with him the whole time, and I really do want to, say a whole story about that and how that made me closer to God. After my cat passed away, there were so many people like, oh, you need a sesh, don't you? You need to do this, don't you? You gotta smoke, don't you? And I immediately was like, no, I don't want to. You wanna know why? Because I wanna feel my emotions. I wanna be here. I wanna grieve. I wanna be present. When you smoke, you're not present. Not really. I really feel as if some people underplay what that feeling is. Like, come on, be honest. When you smoke to escape. You smoke to escape the feelings that you're feeling. And we don't realize that when we're smoking to escape our reality, something else is taking root and taking home in us. And when you start to actually realize the gravity of that thing, it stops being a game. It stops being fun. It stops being just pleasure, because then it becomes detrimental to your soul. I had to stop playing with my health. I had to stop playing with my well-being. I had to really get serious about this thing I was doing to myself, because if I didn't, I was going to actually die. I was going to die spiritually and physically. But you gotta want it. Once I actually broke up with the flower, it was like my whole world did a 360. I stopped that addiction, and here I am today. I did my drug test for my job and passed with flying colors. Oh my gosh, I was so excited about that. Can you imagine not wanting to get a job that you could advance in and be a productive member to society because, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fail my drug test? This could be your sign to put it down. Like, we really have to start coming with a sober mind, a sober heart, a sober well-being. Just because it's fun, just because you like the high, doesn't mean it's good for you. There are other ways to deal with the pain, the anxiety, the fear. It made me think that it was refueling me. It was recharging me. Smoke in my lungs. There's gonna be a day when you actually do stop. And I'm here telling you that if you keep having that thought of I need to stop, one day it's gonna come and you're actually going to stop. Those of us that do quit, I feel like we have an obligation to try and help those who want to get out, because we have to help our neighbors. God is amazing. He really has instilled such a strength in me. Like, I had actual anxiety about going back. Now being this sober, strange person, which is not even strange because this is how I used to be. It makes you forget who you were. But who I am today is someone who is so capable of having all these new friends and coworkers and doing these jobs and learning things. You tell yourself all of these beautiful, positive things about yourself because you know them to be true. And the addiction has you thinking otherwise, but it is lying through this. It wish it had skin of its teeth. And that's why it uses you. It wants your mind, it wants your body. And you watching, don't let it win. Every day fight. Every day. And every day is a fight. Telling the enemy no. I really hope you enjoyed this and you got something from it. I really do hope you got something from it. And I will see you on my next one. Peace.